Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, welcome back to the Extra Mile with Whitewater Freight, where this is our area where we want to move the entire world, even if it's just a little bit. So today, I want to talk about yoga. And if that word doesn't fit with you real well, let's just talk about stretching. Very important part of getting older for me. I spent a lot of my life lifting weights and often ignoring the very important thing of stretching. When you don't have balance in life, things usually fall. And that's how I ended up with a couple surgeries. I had Tommy John surgery here. I had a calcification on a ligament on my wrist here. And a lot of it just because I wasn't taking care of the counterbalance to that portion of lifting and putting the stress and strain on ligaments and joints and working on stretching those and rebalancing all that. So that's what I am a big fan of yoga about. There's stretching like that, get a 10-second stretch into your arm or something. And then there is what's actually beneficial stretching would be holding a pose for over 30 seconds. What happens in that is you have a kind of tension. You hit this point where you have a resistance. Your body is resisting. It's your ligaments and tendons and muscles are used to being able to go so far. And then you hit that point and then they stay there. And then after a prolonged period of time, let's say 20 seconds, what you'll notice is they actually start to release. And they start to release. That's literally like the stretch takes hold and you can feel this release where you can actually go deeper in the stretch. All this to say, the other night when I was doing my session, I use a yoga dog on iPad. It's an app. It's just a very simple app. But I was doing a session and the instructor said, once you get to your next point of resistance, just breathe. And number one, I love that. It's great because it's just great instruction, fantastic instruction. And I'm sitting there thinking as I'm doing this, I'm just loving it because I'm like trying to sink into this stretch like, oh gosh, my hamstrings need this so bad. But even more than that, I started thinking about that, how that plays into every area of our life. Because what we do is we go on these things, whatever we're doing, and we have this momentum and things are good and things are, if they're not easy, they're not a big struggle. Like they are just, we're going, we're coasting, everything's good. And then we hit our resistance point. And a lot of times we don't know what to do when we hit a resistance point. Whether that be a resistance point with a client, whether that be a resistance point with trying to set up a new vendor, whether that be a resistance point with a relationship, whether it be a resistance point in an activity or hobby that you're trying to do, you hit this wall where it's like everything was smooth and easy until I get to the point where it's not and becomes harder. So what do you do there? Just breathe. Just take a pause. Just understand that you're going to sit in the difficultness for a minute. And then after you sit in that part for a certain point in time, then it's going to release. Then it's going to get a little bit easier. Then it's going to find out you're going to develop muscle memory. You're going to get in the flow. You're going to get whatever it is you're doing. You just sit in the bad part. And I think a lot of times, especially with myself, a lot of times what I tend to do is I hit that next point of resistance. And rather than sitting with it, I turn around or I stop or I find something else to do that's going on. And that was a big idea where it was just like, okay, when you get to your next point of resistance, just breathe. The other thing I love about that is the idea of when you get to your next point of resistance, just breathe. It's assuming that you're going to hit a point of resistance. And then you're going to hit another point of resistance. And then so on. And I think a lot of times we tend to forget this as well. Whether we pick up a new hobby or a new job or something that we pick up, we forget that we're going to hit a point of resistance. And then, things go easy, they go smooth for a minute. and then we hit that point of resistance. What we do when we continue to hit those points of resistance over and over again, that's called building resilience. And at a company or at your work life or at your personal life or at any area of your life, resilience is a very valuable thing. And we get to resilience by hitting those points of resistance, breathing, and carrying on. Hope this helps you, and I hope this helps us move our little portion of the world. And until next time, keep being resilient, keep breathing through the resistance, and we will talk to you next time.